Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Saturdays on Lonas Lane. We're so glad you've joined us. Now, if you've been keeping up with college football and you thought that Week 2 was going to be a more clear picture of what the season's going to look like, how wrong you are. Because if Week 2 did anything, guys, it was just muddy up the water even more. So, let's get started. Let's get right into it. We've had a long weekend with birthday parties, jamborees, funerals. It's been crazy. So let's get into it. Let's give these listeners what they want to hear. First, we want to look at not picks of the weeks. We want to look how Week 2 pick'ems went. Cody, we're still behind on you, right?
Yeah, let's skip this part and move right on to the next. Why can't we?
Because they want to know. I'm sure that they can go back and watch the second half of our last episode, but this is just funner this way.
Yeah, a little bit. Hey, once again, sometimes you roll the dice and you hit sevens, the lucky sevens. Sometimes you miss.
Let's talk about lucky sevens. You've lost 7 games.
I've lost 7. I mean,
in 2 weeks.
7 games in 2 weeks. And Taylor and I have only lost 3 games in 2 weeks. I think me and Taylor are going to have the competitiveness.
And 2 of my games were upset wins where you picked South Florida to beat Florida.
Yes, I did.
And I picked Florida to beat South Florida. And then I picked Alabama to beat Florida State. You picked Alabama to beat Florida State. And it hadn't been pretty for the upsets.
No.
But overall, me and Tyler went 14-1. So we tied again this week. We're tied for the season. Cody went 12-3. Now, it's not bad, right? We're still over 500. But when you've got 2 brothers dishing like we are, got to step up the game. But hey, this week we've got a lot of tough games to pick. So stick around and see what we think is going to happen this week. It is no cupcakes.
Nope.
Like we've had been. So there are several games. This could really even out very quickly depending on how we pick these games.
Just wait till we get to SEC play, like week in and week out.
Oh
that's where the tables. That's where the tables will turn. I promise.
Nope.
Absolutely. So guys, let's get to our standout player of the week. Tyler, who do you have?
Shoot, you told me, and I stinking forgot. Let me pull up our messages real quick because it is a South Carolina player, and he had 2 returns, kick returns. It's going to be Swan out of South Carolina. I mean, he got South Carolina rolling. They were down 3-0 going into the second quarter, and great punt return, and got 7, kicked the ball back off to him, and then they're like, hey, let's punt it again. It was a block punt, if I'm not mistaken, and that boy just went up there and grabbed it and took off. I mean, he got touched a lot. So I picked Swan. I mean, he got South Carolina rolling last week.
If you remember, we talked about him a little bit.
We did.
Talked about him last week, being from Central Carrollton, a guy that I remember very well playing against. And so excited that he had another great week. Hadn't got a lot of playing time on defense, which is he's a DB, but his name's getting out there pretty quick, returning the ball. So it's good to hear his name again this week.
Cody, you on the other hand, you said I refuse to pick a player. You want to pick an entire team.
I do. Now, I will say this: I could have went with Bo Pabula again, but because once again he had a great week.
Great week against a pretty good opponent.
I thought he kind of backed up again what he did last week, but I didn't want to be the guy just to pick the same guy over and over again. So I'm picking a team. I'm picking an entire team that I have been behind since day one. Once again, not real sure why. Maybe it's the cowbells ringing in my ear, but I picked Mississippi State, guys. I think they are better than what teams are going to give them credit for. They went and played an Arizona State team who had a really good year last year.
Yes.
I think they have a really good young core. Got a great coach. But as a unit, Blake Shapen threw 19 for 33 for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns. Thompson had 6 receptions for 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's an average a little over of 22 yards per catch.
Yep.
Okay. Anthony Evans had the third. Anthony Evans the third, actually. He had 9 receptions for 108 yards and 1 touchdown. The team only rushed, if there was any negative about the team, they only rushed for 66 yards.
Yeah. Running game is going to hurt them when they get into SEC play.
But they can throw it. He can throw it. And there was other receivers, but those were both topped 100 yards, so I thought they needed mention. But their defense held them to 82 yards passing. But they did give up 251 yards on the ground, so that could also hurt them as well. But overall, I think Mississippi State played a great game against a very good opponent who was in the top 25 going into the game.
What, 12, wasn't they?
11th or 12th, depending on where you were really looking at. So, Mississippi State, congratulations. Keep ringing that cowbell. And, we'll see what we got later on in the show to see where you fall this week on my picks.
I love, because if you go back and you look at my Sunday morning reaction on Facebook, I put that it was a cowbell exorcism of the Sun Devils, and I love the play on words there. I want to throw it out.
Yeah, no, I
so if you're not following us on Facebook, it's a great time to go and give us a follow there, because I like to post quick little things. I would love to start doing a Sunday morning reaction video, but that just means I got to get up earlier to do that. But sacrifices must be made, right?
Right.
To give the viewers what they want.
Or late Saturday night.
Late Saturday. I fell asleep at like 9:30 Saturday night. I did. I missed some good games, but I fell asleep early. I was also up at 5 o'clock Saturday morning, so it was like I said, it was a long day for me. But for my pick this week is Texas A&M Cassius Hallwell. I feel like that should flow a little bit better than it does. But Cassius Hallwell had 3 sacks. And they wasn't just over the game. He had 3 sacks back to back to back.
Yes. I don't know if that's ever been done. In one series.
In one series, yes.
I looked for that guy. I was looking for him. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, so he had 5 tackles total. They were all solo, 3 of them being sacks. Now, he is a strong pass rusher. He has, I want to say, 17 and a half throughout his entire career. He is a 5th-year senior this year, and he may be a big rush off the end. Now, here's the problem that I have. I'm picking a defensive player from Texas A&M who's giving up a lot of points. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. But this man is going to have to do more of this to keep Texas A&M alive.
Yeah.
So, with that, let's get into what happened this week. Because as we saw some great things, like I said in the opener, there are some mucky water that's been stirred up this week.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, Georgia, LSU, all struggled. I think the most that one of them scored is 38 points,
right,
against some cupcake teams.
So, I'll jump right in on this. Georgia's a little different situation because they hadn't played anybody. But you do have Texas coming off of a loss against a very quality opponent in Ohio State. And you also had LSU coming off a big win.
Yeah.
A very emotional big win, coming off that win against, once again, a good opponent. So we think going into the season, who also struggled against a Troy team. But, so maybe you kind of have a little bit of a hangover effect early with Texas and LSU there. Georgia, they didn't really get going until the second half, but you had that 2-hour weather delay.
But that was at halftime,
where it was
so
still
it was
14
13-3 going into half.
Yeah, it was something like that. So, not real sure. They may just be a slow team. I talked to some Georgia fans who were there. Said he just didn't Gunner didn't throw it very well. He was kind of overthrowing behind, just not on target very well. Threw it better well in the Marshall game, but didn't throw it as well at this game. So I think it really is going to start with him. Can he get on target? And I don't think they really rushed the ball. I think they said they got down to the 1-yard line. got inside the one. This game moved up an hour, and I didn't even know it.
2:35, yes.
I thought it was a 3:30 game, and I didn't realize it, so I missed the first half. And so got down to the 1 yard line, and you put your bigs in and can't get in. So struggled there a little bit. You think Austin Peay, they should be able to get in, but they struggle a little bit there. So that's a little concerning for Georgia fans. Some that I've talked to understand that is a worry. So, I think there's some things to worry about. I think all three teams are really good football teams that probably just took their opponents a little lighter than they should have.
Well, Georgia and Texas are my picks to go, and many picks to go to the SEC championship game.
Yeah, all bars.
But Tyler, we look at Georgia and we say, hey, they've got Tennessee coming up this week, maybe overlooking an Austin Peay. Mm-hmm. You've got LSU coming off of a big high from beating Clemson. Maybe they struggle with Louisiana Tech. But Texas, it wasn't that way last week. They didn't beat Ohio State. There was a lot of trash talk about, is Arch Manning the man for the job? And here they come out. In the first two drives, they have 13 yards in the first two drives. They end up being punts. Luckily, their defense is pretty stout. That kept them in the game. The third series, Arch Manning he makes a really good throw down the sideline and he scores a touchdown and kind of jump starts that a little bit. But still, you see these spurts of just spit and sputter that could really cost Texas. Do you see anything that may throw any concern?
Not really against Texas. You still got to think he threw for almost 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. They give up 7 against San Jose State University. I don't see that as a big problem for Texas. Like Cody said, I think they probably just overlooked them going into next week when Texas has to play. Oh no, they play UTEP. So they're not really looking. I think they were just probably just being sluggish. I mean, I couldn't really tell. I wasn't able to watch that game. So he still had 4 passing touchdowns. I don't see it really struggling there. It could have been just a little fluke that they gave up 7. And it looks like Archie, it looks like he played most of the game there. Because he has 19 for 30. It wasn't like he stopped at halftime like what we thought, hey, he just played first half or second half or whatever. I don't really find that concerning. They still ran the ball for almost 156 yards, 55 yards. So I still think Texas is high up there in the SEC. So,
well, I think they figure it out, but how long? And it should start to worry Texas fans that Arch Manning, with all the hype, with everything around him, and I know I'm sitting here and I feel like I'm beating up a 19, 20-year-old on he should be playing better when I can't do any better, but I'm talking about it. You're the one who's out there playing for it, and you're getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
So, at some point, it's time for the play to match up with the money. And you just wonder, you've already lost to Ohio State. You just play UTEP this weekend, so it's not a huge game. One of those cupcake games you kind of expected to play and be over pretty quickly. But after that, SEC play kind of starts ramping up for Texas. They've got Florida coming up in the next couple of weeks, who looks awful at times. Played week 1 very well, and this past week was miserable. Mm-hmm. But
we'll get into that in a minute.
Oh, absolutely. We've got a laundry list of things to deal with, yeah. But their schedule does ramp up. So some concern, I would say so. I really feel like they can put it together. They've got the talent. Just when is everything going to start clicking is the question. And I saw some great things at the end of the game for Arch. He really did start passing the ball and distributing very well, being on time and out front of the receivers, not throwing behind them like he has been. But it's got to continue. There's got to be consistency, which we haven't seen yet. Yeah. But So Georgia, Texas, LSU, all slow starts. Nobody's looking worried or anything like that.
No.
It's week 2. Okay. Texas A&M, they're 2-0. They're beating teams. They're putting up 40 points both games, but they're giving up 20 plus.
Yeah.
So they play UTSA. They gave up 24 points there, and then this weekend they played Utah State and gave up 22 points. Now, obviously, you can score, but defense. Are we playing defense out there?
And not only are you playing defense, but who are the defenses you're playing against? who are you scoring against? Now, I'm not taking anything away from the other 2 teams, but I am saying I don't think they're SEC defenses. So, and I had this conversation today with a coworker, and I was telling them, listen, yeah, they may score, but who are they scoring against? And they're giving up points, so that scares you. As an A&M fan, that's got to scare you a little bit.
Which we do have an A&M friend, Cody Stevens. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you think. They offensively, I think they can handle their own, but defensive, if it becomes a shootout, I want to hear from you.
He's made a couple of comments on
He
our
has,
post, and
yep.
I love it. Keep it up, please.
Yes.
And hopefully you win a big one, and we'll have you on. Okay, and I'm excited about that. But yeah, I think there has got to be a little bit of concern there. I know you can score. You're scoring against those 2. You probably should be scoring a little more. I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm just being honest. That quarterback's good. He's young. It's his second year starting. He started a lot last year. So he's got some experience, so that's not the issue. But that's the offensive side of the ball. But defensively, that is something you kind of worry about.
Yeah.
You worry about that a lot.
So, Tyler, we'll switch over to you. Kentucky goes to Ole Miss, and we kind of looked at Kentucky as being maybe this team that doesn't pick it up. It's kind of sluggish. They don't look very good. Ole Miss wins, but it wasn't pretty. They gave up a lot of points to Kentucky, more so than we thought. And Ole Miss, I mean, you would expect them to put up more than 30 points that they did, but a win's a win. Cody likes to remind us,
A win's a win in the conference
Yeah.
play.
in conference play. But is there any concern for Ole Miss fans with playing Kentucky the way that they did?
No, and if you watch the game and you listen to the commentators, which was on SEC Network, if I'm not mistaken, because Greg McElroy was the announcer, he says it's Stoops' defense that gives Ole Miss trouble.
Yeah, and I heard that.
Just about every time that they play, his defense gives Ole Miss a hard time. I don't know what it is about that, or I just watched bits and pieces of it. I was at an anniversary dinner, so I didn't really get to watch it. Saw some highlights, so I think that's what it is. So I don't really foresee Ole Miss struggling. In the next week or so, they have Arkansas next week, so I think they pick it back up. I mean, it's going to be tough. Last week I said, Ole Miss is going to put up big numbers against Kentucky, but I didn't look at the previous years where Kentucky has given Ole Miss a hard time offensively, even with a Jackson Dart last year.
Yeah.
So I just think that
Who may be starting for the Giants
next week.
this coming up
This is
Sunday.
coming up Sunday. So I don't think Ole Miss really has anything to worry about at this moment with the defense side of the ball. I just think it's Stoops' defense.
Yeah.
Is what gives him trouble.
And Cody has mentioned several times in the opener that this Ole Miss team is young.
It is.
And they've got to come together. And it is, even though you're at home, it's still a pretty hostile environment both directions, right? It's loud for both teams, not just their away team.
The biggest thing I have concern-wise, he threw how many interceptions?
He threw 2 interceptions.
And it was back-to-back series. That's what's concerning to me, taking care of the ball. I was listening to a interview with Coach Saban a couple weeks ago, and he says that the most important things as a quarterback is to end every possession on a kick, with a kick. It can be a punt, it can be a field goal, it can be an extra point, but end every possession with a kick.
Yeah.
That's important. And quarterbacks sometimes think that they have to score every time. You don't have to score every time. You're not going to score every time. So I think it's important not to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
You can play field position
You can play field position.
and rely on your defense a little bit.
And I think Simmons tried to fit some things in windows that he probably shouldn't have, and took chances where he probably could have just taken off and ran, because he's not a bad runner. If I'm not mistaken, the kid plays baseball as well, and he can move. So I don't know why. I mean, there's times where he's trying to fit things in, and I don't think both of them were pretty bad picks. I don't remember either one of them being like a tip ball or.
I want to say one was in triple coverage.
Yeah, it's a little concerning there. Now, could that be coverages that are moving over, rolling? Bob Stoops, disguising stuff that he does, maybe. But I don't know. I don't know. It is a little concerning there with Ole Miss.
So, Ole Miss, I'm looking here to see who they play this week.
They off?
No, Ole Miss plays Arkansas.
That's right. They play Arkansas. And Arkansas put up a lot of points this past weekend against Arkansas State.
Yeah.
I don't have them in my list to talk about, but they did. They put up 50-something points against Arkansas State. So, that's fine. Let's move over. Here is a team. Our next topic is Florida. Here is a team who does really well week one, and we think, okay, this may be a good season for the Gators. And then, fourth quarter, you're looking at third down and
third and long.
Pass interference call. Not only is it a pass interference call, but then you have a defensive lineman, a star defensive lineman, spit in somebody's face. What happens? He gets ejected. 15 more yards. And that puts him almost to midway. And for those of you who are not a coach, you've got to understand what this does for a coach and for a team is, one, it kind of gives you a little bit of momentum, but it changes your philosophy on how you want to call these plays. Mm-hmm. You can kind of be more relaxed. You know your kicker can kick a 50-plus yard field goal. And all we got to do is hold on to the ball, be smart here, little quick outs. You're not having to go 40 yards to get in a field goal range anymore. So it does affect a lot.
It does.
So now I understand this is not Napier's fault. The kid spit in his face, or maybe it is. Maybe it's a discipline thing that you've got to have your players under control to know that you can't do that. We saw this in the NFL on Thursday night.
Yeah.
We see it in college football on Saturday night or Saturday evening. And neither time did it work out well for the person who spit. Now, there is some question on whether or not Dak Prescott spit first.
Different conversation for another day.
That's right. Is Bill Napier in the hot seat getting hotter?
Yes, I think it is. And it's not just the loss against South Florida. If he doesn't have control of his team with the disciplinary actions on that, which I think that they said he's gonna sit the first half anyways because he got ejected. But I think I've read that he's gonna sit the whole game. He's gonna sit him out the whole game for it, and that's a big defensive lineman.
It's a big loss.
It's a big loss. So I just think as the weeks progress, now I'm not saying mid-season fire. I don't think that happens, but I do think it's getting harder and harder. But if he don't come back and win out.
Do you have their schedule pulled up?
For who?
Florida.
The hardest schedule in college football.
The next 6 games are the hardest.
Because they got LSU, Miami, Texas. They have A&M. They have Mississippi State. They got Georgia. Then they got Kentucky, Ole Miss, and then Tennessee.
These next 4 or 5 games.
These are must-win games for Bill Napier to stay a college
I wouldn't say
coach.
all of them, but
No.
at least 3 of the 2. And you have South Florida, the Bulls, who gave Alabama trouble.
last year and the year before.
last year and the year before. I get it.
They're a good football team.
But they come into the swamp.
Golish is a great football coach.
I think so. Too.
Absolutely. But I think you've got to take at least 3 of 2. But that sets your record up as, 4-3.
Yeah.
I do think that the seat is pretty warm. Now, I believe that they've already come out and said he's good for this season. He is going to
They
be
extended him. They
He
really
has-
don't have much of a choice.
He's going to be the football coach for the rest of the season. Now, he did this last year where they struggled early and then they turned it on late. I do think, I'm not sure what's going on offensively. Defense still, for the most part, held them in the game. I mean, I don't think they gave up a touchdown, did they? I think it was all field goals, wasn't it?
We'll have to look at all the scoring drives.
Yeah, 3, 3, 3, one touchdown
they
in
didn't
the
get a
third
touchdown.
quarter.
So, I mean, but still,
It's pretty solid.
against a South Florida team that's going to win a lot of football games. They're 2-0 already. They're going to win a lot of football games. We'll see them against Miami this weekend. It's not necessary, but still, we'll see how good they are, and it could end up being not as bad of a loss in the long run if they continue to win. But, sorry, John, this is going to hurt. Florida's in some trouble.
Yeah.
They're in some trouble, and it's going to be hard to pick them for the next 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough, especially this week.
Until you gain that trust back, it's going to be hard to pick them.
Yeah.
So,
let's get away from teams that struggled. Let's look at some teams that did really good. Alabama, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Tennessee all handled business.
Yep.
Several of them putting up 70 points against the opponents. Tennessee put up 77. Alabama put up 72. Auburn did very well. Vanderbilt, they handled business.
Vandy, of those teams, Vandy was the one team that, really I thought shined. I thought of those teams, they played a pretty quality opponent, and they weren't playing.
Yeah. Virginia Tech is ready to get out of the SEC.
I'm sure they are, and I can't say I don't blame them. But even though they may have not have played some of the top echelon teams from the SEC, they played Vandy, and so
And South Carolina.
and neither one of them I think are great teams right now. I don't think they're playing great. Either one of those teams are playing great. I think Vandy is going to be decent, and I think South Carolina is going to be good. I was kind of impressed with how Vandy pulled out. I think that was one of my losses last week because I'm pretty sure I picked Virginia Tech, if I'm not mistaken.
And Vandy didn't have a good start of the game. They gave up 20 points in the first half. They scored 10. And then all of a sudden it clicked for them. In the second half, they ran out with 13 in the third and 21 in the fourth.
Yeah.
So they took a minute to get going in the first half, but they took off, and that's fine.
Virginia Tech did the same thing against South Carolina, where they come out real hot, and then South Carolina just took over the game in the second half.
Yeah.
So is it an endurance thing that Virginia Tech may be having, or I don't know.
You're getting beat up with a SEC offensive line running back over and over again.
Yeah.
Quarterback that's going to run. They've got, normally Virginia Tech's probably a mid-tier ACC team, so I'm not saying that ACC is much lower than the SEC, but they're very comparable for the most part, I think. But the quality of players are different. They're just different. So, yes, endurance, kind of getting beat up.
So speaking of the SEC, we're going to go back. LSU starting slow. Clemson looked horrible. They were down going into the third quarter.
16-0, maybe.
It wasn't
16
good.
16-0 at
It
one
was
point,
ugly.
I think.
And so then you have LSU start off. So is Clemson not as good as they appear? Like I said, murky water. Week 2, nothing cleared up for us. So week 3, I think week 3 is going to be a lot. You look at a team like Alabama. Ty Simpson goes 17 for 17, 100%. The backup quarterback and Mack, he throws 7 for 9, 8 for 10. He 2 passes didn't complete. Overall, they were great. Like I said, Ty Simpson had a 99.1 QB rating. It was very good for him to bounce back after a week at Florida State. Florida State goes and absolutely demolishes their team as well. So, like I said last week, Alabama fans, relax. Let's see how this plays off. There's a lot of games left to play. Tennessee handled business. Their quarterback is now the star. Nico had another bad week, so I'm going to keep bringing that up. So, Tennessee fans, you got the better end of the deal so far through the first 2 weeks.
I think so, too.
Auburn. Auburn's just been quietly handling business. They go and they beat Baylor. Baylor comes back and wins this week in a really good game. So it kind of helps Auburn's resume as they continue. Mm-hmm. We talked a lot about Hugh Freeze and how this is a must-win year for him.
Yeah,
so
year 4, I think, 3 or 4.
Yeah. So there's no excuses. These are your players. Get it done, and so far he is. But this is a story that I know Cody's going to love. Mississippi State. Is this the feel-good story of the year already?
So far, I mean, you go from winning 2 ball games the year before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 2 total. Now you've already matched that total with a lot more games to play.
A lot more games to play, and with a win over a top-tier, top 15 ranked program that is going to be okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm a fan of Jeff Levy. I am a fan. What he's doing there at Mississippi State last year was rough. We knew it would be rough. Over half the team left. You're bringing in a ton of kids, bringing in a bunch of young freshmen, a lot of kids playing. They even had more transfer in this year on defense. He's got to find his team. He's got to find what he wants, his style of offense. The guys on defense and who's his defense coordinator, they're figuring it out quicker than we thought they would. We thought they might win 3 or 4 ball games, maybe.
Yeah, with a surprise win in there somewhere.
Well, that was the one surprise win. Now, they've got, this week, I think, they could have a chance again. We'll wait till the picks later, but... we'll see. I think it's Jeff Levy, man. If you're listening, which I know you're probably not, but I'll tag you in it, buddy. I'm excited to watch you play the rest of the year. Your team play.
Tag them in the 30-minute mark and let them watch, baby.
Yeah,
I love it.
Because with Mississippi State, you have Akron State, you have Northern Illinois, so you're expected to go in to play in Tennessee 4-0. They potentially
coming off a tough game against Georgia. It's in Knoxville this year, but against Georgia,
Tennessee Georgia plays
this weekend, and then Mississippi State.
No,
it's the following week.
It's the following week. Okay. So you got 3 weeks till Tennessee. So I think you're going into Tennessee being 4-0. To be honest, I think they are. And if you're not mistaken, when I heard that they were playing in Starkville, I said, hang on a second.
Too late.
And you said too late. If you would have let me change my vote, I would have been undefeated this week. I thought they were going to Arizona State, but no, they stayed at home. So I think I got the bad end of the deal there because I really wish I could have changed my pick. And I would have picked Mississippi State.
Sounds like somebody needs to do their homework.
Yep. Yeah, I do need to do my homework on that one. Y'all have I'm working off a small little screen here. Y'all both got iPads.
Well, what about Oklahoma and their big win against Michigan? I think this is one that shocked me more. I think Oklahoma is a good football team, but I also I thought Michigan, I thought Michigan might have even been a little bit better, but I think they ran the ball well. They did have, I know Oklahoma kind of frustrated them on defense.
Physicality.
Yes. Enough to where there was some little scuffling and yelling and arguing between the starting quarterback and their starting running back. So Oklahoma's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Mateer's out there slinging the pill around.
I think it all started with when College Game Day and it was the kick. I think that's where it started, with Pat McAfee going wild about the kick.
Pat McAfee has lost $500,000 in 2 weeks.
Yes, because they're kicking the ball. Everybody's going to College Game Day this year like, I'm going to be picked. I'm going to practice. I'm going to make this. I want money for college. Also, he's giving money away to other relief programs and things like that. But I think it started there when Oklahoma, and I am so glad they just beat them. I was excited.
So the funny story about all of that is we were sitting at the funeral home yesterday. Me and Tyler were arguing back and forth because I asked him, "Are you sure you went 14-1?" Because I could have swore you picked Michigan because you were sitting there, and I remember plain as day asking you. You telling me your player of the week is going to be the one who loses this week. Anyways, you went back. You said you watched it.
I watched it.
I'm going to focus a little bit better this week. I think you're cheating us.
You can go back and rewind the footage. I'll pull it up right now.
I think you're cheating
Unplug
us.
my earphones, and you can listen to it. And it says, I picked Boomer Sooner.
I think Oklahoma's a good team.
I think they are.
Here we are again, trying to predict after week 2. And there's still question marks going around, right? How good is Michigan? Is Michigan really a powerhouse team this year? Are they going to beat Ohio State at the end of the year? That's a game like Alabama-Auburn. You can't pick that game because it doesn't matter what has happened up until that point. Everything changes when it gets to that point. But I am glad to see the SEC win and make this matchup of SEC Big Ten 1-1 for the season. But other than that, I think Oklahoma is going to be okay. They're definitely a contender. They're definitely going to be sitting at the end of the season saying, hey, we deserve to be in.
Yep.
But I think there's one game that's going to determine whether or not they get in, and we'll see it later in the season.
Yep.
I think we'll see it later in the season. So, with all that being said, let's throw week 2 in the trash.
Yep.
Moving on.
Let's look at week 3. Week 3 is so beautiful. We have some games.
Yes,
And it's
finally.
not just the SEC. Well, you can't say finally. Week 1 was amazing.
Well, I'm talking about more SEC play. I'm ready to get down to the nitty-gritty of SEC opponent versus SEC opponent. I'm ready for hard-nosed football.
Well, you're going to get it. You're
Oh,
going
yeah.
to get it because this week we have several SEC versus SEC matchups. We do have Texas A&M playing Notre Dame this week, which is, SEC non-conference. I'm on my own island out here in Notre Dame. Figure your stuff out. You know what I mean, Notre Dame? Just pick one and go for it. I think it's going to hurt you. I think you not being in one is going to hurt you.
I think the football
especially this
team
year.
is the only sport at that school that's not a part of a conference.
Everything else, I believe, is in the ACC, right?
Yeah.
So-
So why not just jump over and do what the rest of the school's doing? I guess you want to be different. That's why Notre Dame is struggling back in the old days. Now it's different. But to be the top 4 teams and get a bye week because they're not conference champions and all of that. But
Which conference champions doesn't matter this year.
Right.
So
they don't
we
matter.
we get
It's-
well.
We'll see when it happens. They say a lot of junk, but they never back it up in the committee.
We'll see. But the first kickoff at 12 o'clock, we have Oklahoma, who is ranked 13th, and we have Temple. Tyler, who you have? Are you going to go against Oklahoma again this week and lie about it after they win?
No, Oklahoma's going to win. They got Temple. Even though Temple had a good game. No, they're 2-0.
Temple's 2-0.
Yeah, Temple's 2-0.
I think still it's
They play Howard and UMass. Yeah.
I think it's Oklahoma. I do think they may have a little bit of a letdown after last week playing against Michigan. I don't think they'll fall to a level of a Florida against USF, but
slow starts
slow
like
start
Georgia
maybe.
and
Yeah,
LSU.
I do think it's kind of one of those games early.
I'm going to pick Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's firepower against Temple's defense I think Temple is going to have a pretty good year in their conference, but Oklahoma's just going to be too much for them. Next, we have Wisconsin at 12 o'clock versus number 19, Alabama. Alabama did move up a couple of spots after their very well demonstrated win.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State moved up to number 10.
Yeah.
Well deserving. But Alabama, Wisconsin, this is in Tuscaloosa.
I think Alabama continues playing. Let's be honest. If Alabama plays with the intensity and the speed that they played last week, we've all said it. We think they've got the talent to play with just about anybody in the country. It's who shows up, what team, what mindset, what attention to detail to every little thing that they do shows up. And if it shows up like it did on Saturday, listen, they only had 4 or 5 plays across the 50-yard line Saturday night. So the defense played well. There were some headhunters happening all the way down 3 and 4. These guys were hitting from everywhere. So with that being said, I think Alabama still will hopefully, I hope every SEC team comes in and does what they're supposed to do. And hopefully they, just come in with the right mindset and plays well and wins. I've got Alabama.
I mean, Wisconsin played Miami of Ohio and scored 17-0. Mm-hmm. Then they went and played MTSU and gave up 10 against them. I don't think Wisconsin is going to be able to hold Alabama.
Go back to that. What's the spread, and then what is the percentage of winning? That's like
Alabama is projected 88.9% over 11.1, and spread
Right there.
should be at the top, yeah.
Right there, somewhere. ESPN bet.
The over/under is 47.5. Spread's 20.5.
Good. So it's not 14.5. Alabama loses when they're 14.5 favorites.
Yeah.
Got
So
it. And it's an unranked team, but it's at home. Unranked teams on the road. Alabama loses.
It's true.
So Alabama over.
I've got Alabama. They are at home. I think they continue rolling. The problem is, can they keep the consistency? And I just haven't seen it out of DeBoer. And it's getting DeBoring. You know what I mean? You're sitting here and you want the best for these kids. College football is not fun without a powerhouse being out there and a powerhouse in the SEC. And Alabama's just been that constant throughout the last 15 years. Mm-hmm. And you haven't had it the last 2 years. So people love it. People hate it. But it's fun to argue about no matter which side of the fence you're on. But I do take Alabama in this one, which leads us to that team just south of Alabama, which is Auburn. They are playing South Alabama, so go even farther south in the state. These teams are separated by I think 80 miles. It's very close.
Mobile, aren't they in Mobile?
I believe so.
South Alabama's in Mobile, I think.
So it's a little bit further than 80 miles, Taylor.
Maybe a little bit farther.
And Auburn is
just below Montgomery.
northeast of Tuscaloosa.
No.
Anyway, he's not a geographical guy. He doesn't really know. It's
History
okay.
is pretty good, but
History's good, but geographically, he's
are you
terrible.
sure? They
Hey,
right
look.
there in Montgomery.
We've got. Listen, I think Auburn. Obviously, I think this should be another easy one for Auburn, who moved into the top 25, and I think they're going to continue playing well, doing what they're supposed to do, and take care of business here another week. So I've got Auburn.
I've got Auburn too. He's looking up the geographic because I'm pretty sure I'm right here.
Yeah, it's south. Southeast, my bad.
Anywho, I've got Auburn winning this game against South Alabama. Tyler, what do you got?
Auburn over South Alabama.
That really hurt. I got to quit hitting myself. All right.
Knock some sense into it.
Next we've got Louisiana versus 25 Missouri. Another one of those cupcake games. What we got?
Louisiana and Bo Kabula, I think, just take care of business. I think he takes care of business pretty quick, swinging the pill and running the rock. I think he does it.
Missouri.
Missouri.
I've got Missouri as well. I don't see this being as close. Now, what could happen is, you play a game like you did last week. You're pretty hyped
Rival
up.
game, yeah.
And you kind of go into this game unfocused, not really interested, and something may happen. I don't see them losing even at that point, but that would be the only way to keep this game close for Louisiana. Next game you have UTEP and Texas. So Texas is at number 7. They're still, right there in the top 12. But we've talked about these slow starts for Texas. Cody, who do we got? Does Texas kind of open it up? Does Arch continue what he finished the game on last week?
I do. I think he builds and has a good week of practice. I think that's just what Coach Sharker's going to have him doing, getting him prepared. And I think they realize that they've got to be more focused in practice and ready. And they can't just walk through it and win like everybody expects them to. But, yeah, I've got Texas. I mean, I think it's another win.
It's a no-brainer. It's got to be Texas.
I think it's Texas too. But let me tell you, I have my concerns, man. Watching this team, it's just with the expectations that we have for Arch Manning, for this offense, you have the best receiver in college football, and you can't get him the football.
Mm-hmm.
It's a concern.
It's frustrating when you have him on your fantasy team.
Absolutely. But
You can get beat by your wife.
I don't see UTEP.
Week 1.
I don't see UTEP being able to keep it. But I'm not high on Texas covering the spread anymore after this past weekend, okay? But I do have Texas winning this week. Then we go to Mississippi State. They play Alcorn State. Cody, you're high on the Bulldogs.
Guys, I need one of y'all to figure out how to get me a cowbell so I can sit here and ring that dang cowbell the entire show and just let everybody know that the Bulldogs going to win again.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think Mississippi State handles business. It's hard. Younger team, once again, off of a big win, could come in just relaxed and thinking it's going to be an easy game, and it may not be, but
You can't do that after going to whatever they won 2 ball. You can't do that. You have not arrived, and I'm sure Jeff Levy is letting them know you have not arrived yet.
But as Nick Saban puts it, that rat poison.
Huh? If they're listening to this show, there's a lot of rat poison.
It is. It is. Keep your head on straight, Mississippi State, but I think you take it. Now, SEC matchup. This is a team that this is a game that if Florida could have taken care of business and won, I would have had a really tough time picking. And then again, I say that, and I see LSU sitting at number 3, but they beat a Clemson team that couldn't take care of business this week, really struggled. If you watch Jermaine Funnyman, and he did not post a video this week because he was out of town. I think he was going to a wedding or something like that, but it would have been a struggle win for Clemson, and he talks all SEC. You have LSU, who had a slow start, didn't put up the numbers we were expecting, could have been a little bit of a letdown after beating Clemson. But this game is in Louisiana. I believe it's a night game. Is it a night game, Tyler?
Who?
LSU in Florida.
It is a 7:30 game.
7:30 game in the real Death Valley.
Yep.
The Tiger will be there.
Yep.
Who do we got?
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say LSU. There's
There's a lot of confidence there.
They're at home I think LSU. I mean, you're missing a big guy on defense for Florida. They struggled against or South Florida, so I think this is not one of those games that they might win. I think they might beat A&M, but LSU, who Lee Corso is high on this year, winning the national championship. I think LSU beats Florida.
What's the spread for this game?
Go ahead and go to Cody while I do this.
Well, John, I'm sorry. I hate to do this to you, but like I said earlier, it's hard to pick Florida right now when you don't trust them. They let me down last week. Gonna have to go with LSU at home. That's a tough one.
Well, they let me down, and I believe if we're talking about the same John posted on our Facebook page after watching Tyler pick University of South Florida, and really was upset about it. And I commented on his post come Sunday morning, don't you wish some of these had a delete button?
A self-deleting
button? And just in case that my defensive line spits on the guy and they drive down the field and kicks a field goal to win the game at the end of regulation?
It was fun. I was with him. My daughter turned 7 on Sunday, but I was with him Saturday night when the game was going on. And I'm watching it, and he just keeps running away from it because he didn't want to watch it. So, no, he was pretty upset. He was pretty upset with it, and then Tyler texts, and I showed him the text, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!"
he called me out on it. It's like, thanks y'all for hyping up Florida, and Tyler, what's wrong? And I was like, hey, it's a strategy game here, guys. I like South Florida. I love the coach there. But it's a 9.5. It's a 9.5 spread.
For LSU.
For LSU, yes.
If I'm covering the spread.
I'm not betting on the spread.
If I'm betting on the spread, I'm not taking the spread in this game.
Nope.
3-point spread, maybe.
Yeah.
I see this being a closer game.
I agree.
I see Florida a little bit upset, a little bit angry. I see LSU really having to fight harder than they did against Clemson. I do think that in Baton Rouge, them Cajuns are going to help this team win.
Been marinating all day.
All day.
In the sun.
Well lit at this point.
Probably halfway asleep in the second half.
I take LSU, but this is going to be a game that who has the ball last may determine who wins this game.
Yep.
What do the Cajuns hunt out there in the swamps?
Alligator. But alligator may not be so easy to come by this week. Like I said, I think LSU wins, but you got to be careful, right?
Yep.
Got to be careful.
This will be a fun one.
Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. Texas A&M's been struggling defensively, keeping the other team from getting points on the board. But Notre Dame, they went to Miami, and this is up in Illinois. What's the town there? Went brain dead. South Bend. Yes, thank you.
Long day.
They go to South Bend. Touchdown Jesus sitting in the background. But Texas A&M's been putting up points.
They've only played one game. I looked. I thought they had played this last week, but I didn't see them. They'd only played one game.
And it was Miami.
And they played them well
Yeah.
against the Miami team, who I think is better than what we kind of expected. I think Notre Dame, they've got a really young quarterback, but they've got a great offensive line. Everybody's back from what I remember. Coach Dinger at the high school, baseball coach, is a big Notre Dame fan. So we talk a lot of Notre Dame. So I know the quarterback is young, but I think they're good. I'm going to pull Notre Dame out here. That's who I'm my vote for this week. That's my pick. Sorry, Cody Stevens.
I think the same thing. I think Notre Dame, they gave Miami a fit there. A few plays, like 1 or 2 plays. I think Notre Dame wins that game. It's a 6.5 point spread. I got to go Notre Dame just because A&M.
6.5 for Notre Dame.
For Notre Dame. Just because of the points that A&M is giving up against weaker opponents.
It is a night game.
Yep.
In South Bend.
Yep.
With a team that's only played 1 game.
It's their first home game.
This is their first home game.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pick against the SEC. I just can't do it. And I know I picked Texas to lose to Ohio State in week 1. I get it. But give me the Aggies, baby. Give me the Aggies. Give me Texas A&M. Cody Stevens, we're going to have you on the show next week after Texas A&M beats Notre Dame, because just mark off your schedule. Come see us. We're going to get you on. I take Texas A&M. Now, if this doesn't happen, if Notre Dame beats us, we may wait a few weeks. But I have Texas A&M winning. The Braves just won, by the way. I have Texas A&M winning.
I'll be with Cody all day Sunday. We got our first ball tournament. His son plays on our team, so I'll be with him. So I'll get to talk to him a lot about it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
let's hurry up.
Eastern Michigan versus Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I think Kentucky takes care of business there. Yep.
It's an 0-2.
Kentucky, yeah,
Eastern
I
Michigan
think
team.
Kentucky. Here's another good SEC matchup. You have a Vanderbilt coming off a big win against Virginia Tech. You have South Carolina, week 1, coming off a big win on Virginia Tech. So there's a common opponent there.
It's a first.
It makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it?
No.
No, it doesn't. That's right. Who do you have winning this game?
Give me the Gamecocks.
Okay.
I think they play well. They might have struggled in the first half, but so is Vanderbilt.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be, like we said earlier, depends on who's got the ball last. It's going to be, but give me the spread's 5.5 for South Carolina.
For South Carolina, it's in South Carolina.
Yeah, it's in South Carolina. I think the quarterback there, was it Sells? I'm not mistaken.
Sellers. Yep.
Sellers. I think he gets it going in the first half though this week. I think him, and I think they cover the spread at 5.5. Cody's waiting for your call now.
This is a tough one.
It is, but
because you're looking at a South Carolina defense who I think is still struggling. And you've got a quarterback, and I know Sellers is a great quarterback, but you've got a quarterback at Virginia Tech who is maybe just a head bit better.
Vanderbilt.
No, and better. You have a quarterback at Vanderbilt that may just be a little bit better right now than South Carolina.
He's also a 6-year player. So.
I understand he's been in the league a long time.
He's almost our age, Taylor.
He's 30 years old, and he's voted in the last 2 presidential elections. I get it. But I'm going to have to take Vanderbilt on this one. And I know, Tanya, if you're watching this, which I don't think you are, she's a big South Carolina Gamecock fan. She's one of Brittany's best friends. She's going to hate me for this. But I'm going to pick Vanderbilt in this game just because the way Vanderbilt was able to really take care of Virginia Tech quickly in the second half, where South Carolina, it took the last couple of drives to really put it away. There was a very good game up until the last 5 minutes of the game.
I've got South Carolina. I think they, Taylor, gonna be different. It's gonna be tough, but
I've got my week. I'll pull ahead.
I've got South Carolina. I think they kind of get things rolling. kind of get more focused and realize what's going on. One game that you don't have down is the Arkansas Vandy or the Arkansas Ole Miss game. Is that right?
I don't have it down.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get that one. Who you got, Arkansas or Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
I'm going to go Ole Miss on this one. But that may be a tougher pick than what I just made with Vandy beating South Carolina.
I think we're going to sweep across the board here. I think I'm going to go Ole Miss as well. I think Coach has got them going this week in practice. They're going to shore up some things with the quarterback with Simmons. Probably tell him if it's not there, tuck it and go. But I think Ole Miss takes care of business. I just think they've got more experience than Arkansas. I think that's probably where we're at. Now, big game.
Big game.
Set it up.
In this area, right here on the Tennessee-Georgia line, we have a matchup that will be in Knoxville, 3:30 game, and it is an ABC game, but it's Georgia's first true test. Tennessee has played Syracuse, made them look like a bunch of pups out there, but Georgia is all of our top teams to make it to the SEC championship game. Are we having any second thoughts about this, or are we still thinking that the Bulldogs are going to run the table?
I know there are some Georgia fans out there, some really smart and very intelligent Georgia fans out there that are worried about this game.
Well, I would be.
And then there are other Georgia fans out there who are just, they're so Bulldog that they're not worried about anything. Now, there have been times in the past recently where Tennessee has been ranked very high and very, very confident coming into this game. And normally, it does not bode well for the Vols. Sorry, Emily. But I do think you kind of set it up for Cody to come on. I think the winner of this game should have next week's pick, honestly.
I think so too.
Okay.
And I think we could go Emily. I think she would do it. I think we can go either Corey Phillips, good friend of mine who's a big Tennessee fan. We could swing the other way. Georgia fans, I try to get Jordan to call on. I try to get Nathan or Corey, my other two buddies, to come on. I think we've got some Georgia fans and Tennessee fans on both sides.
Yeah.
I think they could come do a show with us. I think this would be the first great week to really do that.
Yeah. Next week's show is going to be very small. There's a lot of buys going on in week 4. It'd be a great week. So who are you picking? You said Emily.
Sorry, Emily. I guess I should pick this. I believe in your Tennessee Vols. I really do. I just think Georgia, and I think that defense is going to show the quarterback there at Tennessee. I think he's going to show him a little bit more than he's seen.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about. I'm worried about that for Tennessee. At one point, I think he led the nation last year in interceptions.
14.
14
And so that scares me. Now, he is in a different offense. We know that. He's got a different coach, got different plays. I know that.
That he's only came in. It's almost like a freshman coming in out of high school.
Yeah.
So he hadn't been there long.
Been late.
Yep.
So it does scare me. And Georgia has not showed much. And they may not have just showed anything. Very vanilla defense. Very vanilla offense. I get that. And that's very possible as well. Only show what you got to show to win.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I'm not saying that's the case. But, yeah, I'm going Georgia there. I think they're the history, and it could be the year, but the history just is not on Tennessee's side when they're coming in. You remember a couple of years ago they were ranked number 1, and Georgia steamrolled them.
Yeah.
So that scares me. It may just be a psyche in their head where they can't get past it.
You gonna pick?
I can go ahead and pick.
Ahead.
Look, I've got several Georgia fans who I love to death. You know, I've got Brian Johnson, who I kind of hope we can get on the show for the Georgia-Alabama week. His son goes to Georgia. He's trying to get tickets to be there. So it would be fun to kind of have him here for that week as we set up that game. That's on the 27th. And I've got Casey, who teaches Sunday school for us, and he comes to youth weekends and youth camp with us every year. He's a big Georgia fan. Big Georgia fans. I'm surrounded by Georgia fans. Kevin Baker, big Georgia fan. I coach with him. Another coach that I coach with is Corbett, big Georgia fan. I do have some Tennessee fans though as well.
Mm-hmm.
But my problem is with picking Tennessee is I just don't trust their quarterback. And I know I say this and everybody's going to be like, have you not watched what this guy's done the past 2 weeks? Have you not seen him? I have.
Mm-hmm.
But you ain't played an SEC defense like these Mad Dogs that you're going to be bringing into your house. It is going to be crazy. I don't care if you checker the stadium. I don't care if you bring your loudest people. You may have 110,000 people in Knoxville, but the Dogs will take the game this Saturday at 3:30. You can bet your bottom dollar on it. Tyler?
My fondest memories of the Georgia-Tennessee game.
I know exactly. Chase Couch, house.
No,
It went like 8 overtimes? No,
No.
that was Alabama,
it's
Tennessee.
Alabama-Tennessee.
Never mind.
My favorite
Go to
fondest
North
memories
Carolina.
is going to North Carolina
Mm-hmm.
and sitting in the basement with Papaw watching this game.
Big.
Big.
Every year.
Every-
It seemed like we were down there
It was,
every
it
year.
was every year because it was Granny and Papaw's birthday. And watching that game with him has always been special. And so this game is always memorable for us. But I got to pick Georgia over Tennessee.
Across the board.
Across the board.
I think it's across the board. I just don't think. I just don't know. I mean this. I'm going on rankings this time because it's hard to pick. I'm just going off the rankings here. I got a lot of Georgia fans, got a lot of Tennessee fans, and they watch the show.
We live in the middle
So
of the two schools. We live right here just south of Chattanooga.
So you got to go with a better hand on this one. That's Georgia, and like Cody said, have they been playing vanilla? And has Tennessee given all they've got in the past 2 weeks and showed all their cards?
Week 1, they had to. You played Syracuse. It's a pretty good Syracuse team. But like I said, they're just not the same. You can't compare apples to oranges.
No.
And I love that because apples are red, oranges are orange, and they played Syracuse. You get it? You can't compare apples to oranges.
Hey, talking about friends, Tyler Rose, who does our intro music. Big thanks to that in the Rose House. Shout out to y'all. He's a big Tennessee fan.
He is.
So I know he listens every week. He lets me know. My buddies, they let me know. And, they're either Tennessee or Georgia. I mean, everybody I talk to is either Tennessee or Georgia.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. This is a big week. And you know what? It's fun to sit back and just kind of, hey.
Poke
Hey.
the bear.
Hey,
I will. I do this all the
Poke
time.
the bear.
I would love to go to Rose's house. He's got a setup that is amazing to watch college football.
Yeah, it's fun to watch it over there. But I think it's a good point there. This might be the closest game that we have between the two in the recent years.
It's a 3.5 point spread.
It started out as a 7-point spread, and it's already that was this morning. I think started out as 7 point, and now it's 3.5.
I'm excited.
And they got it for Tennessee 51.5 to Georgia 48.5.
I'm excited. This week, special week, Georgia, Tennessee. You've got Alabama, Wisconsin. You've got Florida versus LSU, Texas A&M versus Notre Dame, Vanderbilt versus South Carolina. We're getting into SEC play, and it's going to make this podcast such a fun podcast, especially when we start bringing fans in. And what makes this podcast so great is we want to hear from our fans. We want to hear from you and what you think. You've heard from us that we are constantly interacting with you, so send us what you think. we're gonna respond. I promise. Don't worry about that. It's not empty ears here, and it's one of us that's gonna be responding. We don't have a team out there that does anything. We can't afford it. Sorry.
Lotus Legacy Cattle is not paying the bills enough yet.
Neither is neither is Brittany's Street Treats. So, hey, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you following us, and just remember that every day is Saturday on Lotus Lane. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great week.
Good week. Yep.